So the Lord has told me, basically, he like looks at me and he's like, if longing was a person, it would be you. And I feel like he's capturing something that he is showing me, but it's also for the body. It's for the body of Christ. Like, to be his, at some point you were going to be put into a position of longing for something. But I think where longing becomes a person, it's in your being. It's like you can look at your life from the surface level place, and I think we often do, where it's like, well, what have you been doing? Oh, I've been like, waking up, eating breakfast, going to work, I'm watching this show, I'm doing this thing. But what state of being are you in? And that to me is like where you really are. And this is the complexity of human beings. We're not being what we're doing. We're being where we are. And a lot of us, I feel, are either entering into a position of longing or are longing for something. And it's not this, you know exactly what it is. And I don't think that what we conceive of that we are longing for is actually what we're longing for. Like if you're longing to be married, I think you're really longing not to be married, but to be with someone, to see this new way of being, right? And what makes the intensity of longing such a vulnerable position for those that are God's is the humility in I cannot bring this to myself. I'm not longing for something that I can see. I'm not longing for something that I can produce. And so, in a sense, I cannot work for it. And in a sense, since I cannot work for it, I am not distracted by trying to get it for myself. And so I find myself fully in the state of being that is longing. I am longing for something. I am longing for what he has for me. Like I've been watching these like Christmas TikToks, and yeah. And the funny thing is, whenever Christmas arrives, it's no longer what the longing was. And so I feel like I've always been longing. It's like longing for me has been it's always a day away, but it's never today. I've longed for Christmas, but it's the warmth of Christmas, it's the cheer of Christmas. It's to me, I think it's the entering into a place that's already warm and has been prepared for me so that I don't have to feel obligated to do all of these things. Like it's a state of being that I'm longing for, that I feel like the Christmas season captures for me, and probably goes back to whenever I was a child and I felt the warmth of that, right? But I long for that, and the Christmas music and the lights and the things about Christmas bring that out of me. But then I get to Christmas and I find this isn't what it was like in longing, because I'm not able to bring myself into the state of being that I'm longing for in this Christmas season, right? And I think this is what makes longing for the individual waiting on God to produce something in your life such a vulnerable and weak position, because you really are longing for, I think we're ultimately longing to be face to face with him in a way without the distractions, right? To know oneself through the one who created you, to see what he sees about you. And so I've been watching Christmas TikToks, longing for something I do not know what it is. And the Lord's like, if longing was a person, he would be you. And I don't think I'm the only one. I think I'm the expression of what so many people. It's like we can feel dissatisfied, discontent. We can get angry. And we're like, I don't even know where this is coming from. I believe there's an intense longing in us, right? I believe that even creation is groaning, longing for the sons and daughters of God to realize who they are, right? But this is all seemingly pointing back to the one who is the vine, the one who can actually bring us into what we are longing for, so that a longing fulfilled by him is a tree of life. In your walk with God, you will be longing. He will bring you into a place of longing. And I feel like the longer that you are longing, waiting, desiring, yearning for something, right? Hungry for something, thirsty for something, you will realign that it's not necessarily like the marriage or the season or the whatever. It's this state of being that you know exists, but you've never seen it, right? It's this consciousness that we are longing for. The consciousness, the awareness of the truth, our wholeness in him, that says, I have come to know that he has prepared a place for me. And now the longing fulfilled is I am in the place that he has prepared for me. And that is greater than the place. The knowledge that he looked out for you and remembered you. He looked out for you. He remembered you. The knowledge of that to me is what we're longing for ultimately, to know the truth. So that when we are in the place that we have been longing for, it's not the place that feels all the strain of needing to be something. Because I think you can have it where, like, I just think of like moms or whatever. They want to make whatever holiday the best holiday, but then you find that they're stressed trying to carry a bunch of things, trying to make it perfect. And that to me is not great, because to long for something that the Lord has given you means you are free from all of that, so that you can actually be there in a way that you could not be there whenever you felt like you had to be the one to, like, put on the show, right? To put everything together, hold all the strings, you know. So I think that the body of Christ is longing for him, thirsty for him, and this thirst and this longing is something that he actually produces in us. He is the producer of all things. And so you're not just waiting, right? And give yourself a break, because to long for something seems to be like it's a verb, like it kind of takes over, you know. And you will find yourself like when you're in a season of grief, having outbursts and you don't know why. Like we're more complex than we realize we are. It's not just like, hey, how's it going? How was your week? And oh, I went and I did this and I did that. It's like, yeah, but how are you though? Right? Like we don't few of us are aware of that about ourselves, our state of being with things. And I think that we're trying to really just like, we're trying to get away from or suppress something that we can't fix, something we can't bring to ourselves. Because the intensity of longing, when he finally brings you into a position of longing, is a weak position. It's a vulnerable position. It's not something, you're not longing for something that you can get to yourself right away, and so you have to wait. You will know what it's like to be hungry. You will know what it's like to be thirsty. And that's a weak position, because what seems to come out whenever someone is longing, when someone becomes aware of their hunger and their thirst, to me is the humility that comes in and says, you cannot feed yourself. You cannot get what I have for you. I must prepare you for it. I must prepare the table for you. It's not ready. You're not ready. And then that brings into the truth that you can't ready yourself and you can't prepare your own table. And what you would put on the table wouldn't fulfill you. So it's something you can't conceive of. It's someone who knows you deeper than you know yourself. And so you're brought into where that relationship dynamic really is, where you really are in trust with that, the weak position in that. It's like a vacancy in us, but it's an intentional vacancy. It's like God is said, I'm putting something here, but it's not ready yet. And so you just feel the emptiness of it. You feel the vacancy in it. And I feel like the more that he has you long for something, you see, well, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. Like none of these things are it. And there's like a death that comes to the reality that sets in of just like you're longing for something that you can't see. You're longing for something you can't conceive of. You're longing for something you've never seen or heard before. And I think this goes with the verse where he's like I have what no eye has seen, no ear has heard, and what no man has conceived of. And you begin to long for that. And you feel the vacancy in that, the emptiness in that. You're just like, I know that's not it. Like I'm not longing for Christmas because I've had Christmas before and it did not fulfill me. I'm longing for something that the surface level part of Christmas reminds me of, but that is vacant in me. You're just like he has to fill it, right? And when he brings you to a place where you're no longer able to hide or distract yourself with trying to get what you were longing for, because I think that we think that we're longing for surface level things because we think we're surface level people. He takes us deeper into ourselves, and you find that, like I was talking about before, where it's like what you're doing is not where you are. And so you're not like eating breakfast and doing these things and whatever's on your calendar. You're in something. You're in a position. That's where you are in the state of that position. And when he brings you into that place of longing where it's really you just feel like you're just suspended in air and everything is being taken out of you. And the longing gets intensified as you find that that emptiness and that vacancy can't be filled by the things that you've seen before. What has been familiar to you is being removed from you, and you are longing for what is unfamiliar to you. It's intense. It's really intense. Like, and I think that's what the Lord knows about humans, that we're not aware of these things about ourselves. We're not aware of how complex we are, right? How bothered we are by this intensity in this thing. So if you're in that, give yourself grace, give yourself a break, because you're not just waking up and going to work. You're not just waking up and eating and watching this show and doing these things that this is what I'm doing on the surface level, but then how come, I pause the show and I have to cry, right? Why am I having these reactions? Why am I getting angry? Why am I feeling dissatisfied? And I feel like the accuser will come in and say it's a surface level thing, but I don't believe it is. And if you ask the Lord what's really going on with you, you will find that it is actually beautiful, intentional, and a certain position that he has you in. I really believe that. Anything else that's trying to tell you to like get out of position, to me, is not him. Because I think he has us like that. Like our seasons and everything is prepared for us. And I've been in an intense season of longing. That really is like, the longer that I'm longing for something, the more I see that my entire life has been this. And this is where I think he's saying, if longing was a person, because you find that your whole life, it's not just you're in a waiting season. I believe that you enter into the truth that says, I've always been waiting for you, right? I've always been waiting for the place that you've prepared for me. And there I've found no fulfillment, no satisfaction, no quenching of my thirst by feeding myself or trying to paint the picture for myself, because it's in him, and knowing that he remembered you and that he knows you. That to me is where the longing will be fulfilled. It will be fulfilled in your knowledge of his love, right? Not the place. The place will just be a representation of what you know to be true. It will be a physical thing. And the physical thing will be very, very good. I'm very much looking forward to the physical thing. But I think that's where, like, before he gets you to the physical thing, he's increasing you in the knowledge of what you need, what he has for you that you've never seen before. It's almost like this is the currency. You become aware of your need. The greater the awareness of the need, the greater you will receive grace that empowers you to be in a certain position that gets you to where he wants to take you. You don't get to where he wants to take you by aiming at it. You get to where he wants to take you by surrendering. Then you will long for that place. It's real.